story appears ordinary till
Please shut this door.
Side of it.
And what you're looking for is a story behind the
Counter
news.
is not on.
We bring it to you from Lagos, the commercial capital of Nigeria.
Giving you all sides and political stories round the clock.
Every detail from the start line to the final whistle.
CoreTV News, expanding your view.
Hello and welcome to CoreTV Primetime News. I am Eblomo Adekunle. In our major story, uneasy calm in Ekiti as Governor Kayode Fayemi declares dusk to dawn curfew across the state. Court discharges and acquits Speaker of Lagos House of Assembly, Adeyemi Kufuruji, of money laundering charge. Muslim group protests failure of court to deliver judgment on hijab in Lagos. And outside Nigeria, hundreds of people gathered in Paris to denounce the barbarism of Islamic State militants. Now the details. Following the protracted violence rocking Ekiti during the week and the killing of the former NURTW boss in the state, Omolafe Aderiye, on Thursday night, the government has imposed a dusk to dawn curfew in the state. This was announced by Governor Kayode Fayemi in a statewide broadcast in Ado-Ekiti, the state capital. Rashid has the details.
The atmosphere in Ekiti State is tense as a result of the recent crisis rocking the state. Youth alleged to be political thugs have invaded courts twice and destroyed court property and obstructed proceedings. A former boss of the National Union of Road Transport Workers, Omolafe Aderiye, was also killed. He is believed to be a close associate of a top politician in the state. Addressing the state in a broadcast, Ekiti State Governor Kayode Fayemi condemned the attack on the judiciary and directed the Attorney General to liaise with the State Chief Judge of the possibility of transferring all cases out of the state.
It is understandable that not a few stakeholders have expressed concern about what the development portends for Ekiti State. The brazen contempt of our hallowed law courts and the use of violence and intimidation to obstruct the course of justice is a clear invitation to anarchy and brigandage on the scale and texture that once characterized Ekiti State some years ago. Ekiti, are those years upon us again?
He further cautioned politicians to control their followers and supporters so as to avoid chaos.
The course of justice can only be delayed, but never truncated. The independence of the judiciary is an inviolable tenet of any democracy. Accordingly, I have this morning directed the Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice in the state to issue a legal advisory to the Chief Judge of the state and all the parties to the existing cases in the State High Court and the Ekiti State Governorship Elections Petitions Tribunal on the desirability of seeking an alternative venue for the hearing of these cases outside Ekiti State. The state can no longer afford to witness the bizarre spectacle of the beating up of a judicial officer and wanton intimidation of lawyers and court personnel.
The governor thus imposed a dusk to dawn curfew on the state.
Ekiti, in order to forestall further descent into anarchy in our state, I think all hands must now be on deck, and as the Chief Security Officer of the state, I have suspended my thank you tour, which I'm undertaking as part of my transitioning out formalities in the state. Also, I have taken the decision to institute a dusk to dawn curfew in the state immediately. Accordingly, there will be no movement between the hours of 7 p.m. and 7 a.m., and security agencies have been advised to effect this curfew maximally.
The rise in violence is coming just days before the transfer of power to the next government in the state. It is hoped that a curfew will help curb the violence. Rashid, CoreTV News, Ado-Ekiti.
And following the murder of Omolafe Aderiye, ex-boss of the Ekiti branch of National Union of Road Transport Workers and a close ally of the governor-elect Ayofayose on Thursday night, the city of Ado-Ekiti was a shadow of itself for the better part of Friday as all public and private institutions were shut down, leaving business activities paralyzed. The reason for this was the fear of attacks, which actually took place before the intervention of security agencies. Rashid went around town to assess the level of damage, and the police resolved to bring the perpetrators to book. His report.
Since the death of Omolafe Aderiye filtered into town late Thursday, fear of the unknown has gripped residents of Ado-Ekiti as all government and corporate institutions shut down for business. Commercial activities were also paralyzed for the day. The fear of the people against possible attack on lives and property made most of them stay indoor. A drive round Ado Metropolis reveals serious damages to property, among them the campaign headquarters of Governor Kayode Fayemi and that of the APC. Joseph Olabiwonu, leader of the Road Transport Employers and perceived staunch supporter of Fayemi, was not spared in the arson that saw his house and fleet of cars razed. An easy calm best describes the mood at the home of the deceased as tears flow freely from sympathizers and relatives. In all, property worth millions of nairas have been lost to the attacks which turned Ado-Ekiti into a ghost town, but for the intervention of security agents, the situation could have been worse. The Commissioner of Police, Taiwo Lakan, vows to bring the killers of Aderiye and those who took part in the destruction of property to book as he backs the governor's declaration of curfew.
The curfew is extremely necessary. It will lessen our burden. We've been out since morning. And of course, the curfew means you are supposed to stay in your houses, your individual houses. If you are found on the street, you have to say to blame. We've made a sizable number of arrests because some people were actually caught right on the scene, burning houses. Some were seen, trying to picket roads. Some were seen burning tires. We have ample facts against them, and investigation is ongoing.
The last may not have been heard on the gruesome development, even as the dusk to dawn curfew takes effect and normalcy returns to the streets. Rashid, CoreTV News, Ado-Ekiti.
In a related issue, the People's Democratic Party in Ekiti has condemned the murder of a former chairman of the state chapter of the National Union of Road Transport Workers, Omolafe Aderiye, by unknown gunmen. The State Publicity Secretary of the party, Kola Oluwawole, in a statement in Ado-Ekiti, described the killing as an act of wickedness, barbaric and satanic. According to him, the murder could not be separated from the clandestine activities of the All Progressives Congress government, which had vowed to make the state ungovernable for the incoming administration of the PDP. The party called on the Inspector General of Police and all relevant security agencies to bring to book the perpetrators of this act so that those who want to create a chaotic situation that will negatively affect the swearing-in of the governor-elect will not have their way. It also implored the State Commissioner of Police to provide adequate security for the governor-elect and all the PDP leaders who it claimed have been marked for elimination. Meanwhile, reactions have started to trail the development in Ekiti, where the state government imposed a dusk-to-dawn curfew to checkmate recurring violence by hoodlums. A guest analyst on our flagship program, Core Digest, Lekon Alabi, in his contributions, lambasts the police for turning a blind eye to the issue. Alabi, who is a Lagos-based lawyer, wants that the role played by an institution like the police, which is saddled with the enforcement of
how many people have they arrested? Which means they are partisan.
In an election year.
Which means there are some people that are above the law. Which means that these youth are being responded to stimuli. That some people are pulling them somewhere that nobody can arrest you. Which means that we have a partisan security apparatus. Which means that because a sitting governor maybe is a member of opposition party, that's the reason why that the police have not been able to do their job. That what they are just going to do is to make sure that the judges are safe, and we just accord them to enter their vehicles, and to, after judges, then the lawyers will now be accorded some courtesy and walk them to their vehicle. If judges are seeing this kind of thing, are we sure that the judge is going to decide the case according to the evidence before them and according to the law of the land? The court has been intimidated, and no single, we see it in the scene. Nobody has been arrested, and we see them carrying cordials. We are seeing them carrying cordials, intimidating both judges and the lawyers. They are no witnesses, and the matter is not ripe for hearing.
The Muslim Society of Nigeria has carried out a protest over the failure of the Ikeja High Court in Lagos to deliver a judgment as scheduled for Friday, the 26th of September, on whether or not the Muslim headscarf, otherwise called hijab, should be allowed in public primary and secondary schools in the state. Olajumoke Olatuji has more in this report.
This obviously is no joke as the Muslim protesters march on the streets of Lagos. Though defiant, the protesters did not drive home their objective through violent means to press home their demand. However, Vice President of the society in Lagos, Saida Shafa, says their patience on the issue at hand has been tested enough.
We are here at the Lagos High Court. Today has been the day due to handed down our judgment on the case of hijab. Some of our Muslim students have been oppressed in various secondary schools in the state. So we have come to the court and we have been on this case in the last 2 years. So today is supposed to be the judgment. We were in the court, they are telling us another date again, which we were not told before. So that is, so they are now telling us that we are coming back on the 17th of October. So, but we have been here already. So if they want to stop all these things, they should give us the judgment and let us know the next step we are taking.
Though the judgment was expected to be delivered by Justice Grace Mudukbe Unyabo, who had, after hearing both the complainants and the defendants, argued their cases on Friday, July 4. The protesters are also urging the state government to take a look at what they described as a threat to their constitutional rights.
If you want hijab, that is the head cover of the Muslim student, to be allowed, because this is why they have been flogging and oppressing our members in various schools. So, and this is our constitutionally granted right. We are in a situation where our constitution has granted us the right to freedom of thought, conscience and religion. So these are our religion. Allow us to practice it.
It would be recalled that the Lagos state government had banned the use of hijab in public schools on the arguments that it was not part of the approved uniform for pupils. After the ban, the students' group proceeded to call to seek redress and protect pupils from being flogged, embarrassed and victimized for using hijab within and outside the learning environment. The case, which has been on for 2 years, has again been adjourned to the 17th of October. Much depends, however, on what position the state governments would take following mounting of pressure from both sides of the divide. Olajumoke Olatunji, CoreTV News, Lagos.
The Speaker of the Lagos State House of Assembly, Adeyemi Ikuforiji, has described the dismissal of the 54-count charge of money laundering against him by the Federal High Court as a victory for democracy and justice. Ikuforiji, who was overjoyed by the development, promised to rekindle his commitment in the service to Lagosians in the country.
This victory is not mine alone. It is our collective victory. It is a victory for democracy, a victory for the judiciary, a victory for the Lagos State House of Assembly, a victory for the Lagos State government. We are being vindicated. It is a victory for every journalist who stood on the side of the truth, even when they were being bombarded with lies. It is a victory for our party, the APC, and everyone who has stood solidly by me in the last 3 years. My very dear friends and colleagues, the struggle goes on. Our work is not done. While we savor this victory, we must remember that we still have a lot of work to do. This victory is a call to action. As the 2015 general election approaches, we must rally round to ensure victory for our party at all levels. Our politics should not divide us.
Meanwhile, the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission is to appeal against Justice Ibrahim Buba's decision to discharge and acquit the Speaker of the Lagos State House of Assembly, Adeniyi Ikuforiji, and his aide, Oyebode Atoyebi. The judge had ruled that the prosecution failed to prove its case against the accused persons, but a dissatisfied EFCC says the judge erred in his ruling. It insists in a statement issued in Abuja that the proof of evidence attached to the charge clearly showed that the dual violated provisions of the Money Laundering Act in receiving various cash payments from the Assembly amounting to about 338.8 million naira. EFCC maintained that it will explore the option of appeal to bring the accused persons to justice. Politics ahead of 2015 hots up. Find out more after this timeout. Don't go away.
This needs precision. Yes! Got to get her home before her curfew. My dad! Uh-oh, got to get her home fast. If we cut across 3 streets in 3 minutes and speed across the market in 2, should make it to the Can we make it? If we take the stairs at 30 seconds per flight, we just might. Yes! Made it in time. Mission accomplished.
Get everyday energy fast with Lucozade Boost.
Nivea Nourishing Body Lotion. Its effective formula with Hydra IQ gives your skin deep and long-lasting nourishment for skin that stays moisturized all day long. Look great, feel great, with deeply nourished skin. Nourishing Body Lotion from Nivea.
There is an Ebola virus epidemic in some West African countries. The Nigerian government wants you to be aware and watch out against the spread of Ebola in your community. Help keep our country safe and watch out for severe cases of fever, headaches, diarrhea, chest and abdominal pain, sore throat, cough, red eyes and bleeding from the eyes, ears and nose, especially when these symptoms are found in persons coming into Nigeria from other West African countries. Protect yourself. Wash your hands regularly with soap and running water or use a hand sanitizer. Avoid contact with the blood, urine, feces or saliva of animals like bats, monkeys, gorillas, chimpanzees or infected persons. The Ebola virus is deadly. Don't catch it. Don't spread it. This message is brought to you by the Federal Ministry of Information.
Thank you for being there. One of the presidential aspirants in the All Progressives Congress, Sam Isaiah, insists that there is no basis for the party to opt for a consensus candidate. The publisher of Leadership newspaper was speaking against the backdrop of suggestion that APC may decide on a less rancorous style of choosing its presidential candidate. Isaiah told CoreTV News in Abuja that consensus candidacy is not on the party's agenda and can therefore not be imposed on party members.
Well, consensus candidate means that they have looked at all the candidates and see who is better fit to win for us. And when you are going to choose a consensus candidate, let's even take specifically this instance now. We are going to, the PDP has already declared that APC, that Jonathan is the candidate. So in choosing a consensus candidate, what the party will do, first is that everybody will agree on the terms of the choice of this consensus candidate, since we intend to win. And winning is logic. Winning is arithmetic. Jonathan is the candidate. So, people have not yet come out to contest, to declare that they will contest. So far, I think I'm the only one that has come out publicly. Atiku intends to declare. Yes, he has said that he will contest. Buhari's people have said so. I don't know whether Buhari himself has said he's going to contest, but that's 3. I think for now we're 3. No, I think Kwankwaso is also saying that he's going to contest. There are rumors about the speaker coming into APC and all that. But when you want to choose a consensus candidate, you don't just come and say, okay, you be consensus candidate and others. It's not done that way. That is why anywhere it is done so, it fails. Everybody sits down and look at, okay, if you, Mr. X, contest against Jonathan, these are the chances. This is what is going to happen. This is going to be the electoral behavior of this group, that group, this group. There are 36 states in this country. If B contests against Jonathan, this is what it will be. If the C, this is what it will be. So it's simple. Then if we all sit down and agree, because in common sense, we all agree, but you're right, it's true. This is the logic, and this makes sense, of course. Of course, it's but you see, if consensus, even by the simple definition of the word, means it's consensus. Consensus is consensus. Consensus is common concept. So consensus means everybody has agreed. So it has to be consensus.
So are you saying if
you say consensus and you say will you agree, that doesn't even arise. Consensus means that I've agreed.
Okay.
That's what it means.
Still on the 2015 presidential election, a youth group in northern Nigeria, the Arewa Youth Leaders, has resolved to back former Vice President Atiku Abubakar's quest to pick the presidential ticket of the All Progressives Congress. The youth leaders said they opt for Atiku based on his experience, integrity, and liberal disposition. The group also said in a communique issued after a meeting in Kaduna that the former vice president also stood out in the APC as a pure civilian with democratic credentials. It cited the role played by Atiku in leading the opposition against the third-term bid of former President Olusegun Obasanjo in 2007. The youths took a swipe at the People's Democratic Party for shutting the door on what they described as a credible alternative by endorsing the incumbent president for re-election. After months of consultations, former acting national vice chairman, southwest of the People's Democratic Party, Adedeji Doherty, has again declared interest in the Lagos 2015 governorship election. The declaration makes it his third attempt at the seat. Olajumoke Olatunji has more in this report.
The rank of governorship aspirants on the platform of the People's Democratic Party in Lagos has increased by 1. A former acting national vice chairman southwest of the People's Democratic Party, Adedeji Doherty, again confirmed his readiness to contest for the exalted seat.
I'm here to declare my intention to run for the exalted seat, the seat of the governor of Lagos State on the platform of the People's Democratic Party.
The party already boasts of other aspirants including Adedosumu, Jimmy Agbaje, Adetokunbo Press, Babatunde Gbadamosi, Dominic Adegbola, Taiwo Kuye, Owolabi Salis, and the Minister of State for Defense, Musiliu Obanikoro. What exactly is standing him out of the park?
Our 10-point agenda: the empowerment of women, empowerment of youth, good transport, quality, free education. We have power, we have revisitation of our tax law to create a more vibrant economic Lagos State.
The PDP in Lagos is already fancying its chances of producing a replacement for incumbent Governor Babatunde Fashola. The party, and particularly Dorothy, has vowed to wrest power from the ruling All Progressives Congress in the state. Olajumoke Olatunji, CoreTV News, Lagos.
The Chibok community has commenced moves to identify the girl Susan Ishaya, who was abandoned by Boko Haram and found wandering in Mubi on Wednesday. The chairman, Kibaku Development Association, Pogu Bitrus, said he had directed the vice principal, Government Secondary School Chibok, to go to Yola, Adamawa State, and ask the girl about her origin and other issues surrounding her identity. Susan was discovered near a police station in Mubi, Adamawa State, after she was brought there by villagers who found her near Biu in Borno State. She was said to have been thrown out of a moving vehicle by her captors and was left to wander for 2 days before she was discovered by the villagers. Susan was said to be traumatized and sexually abused by the insurgents and was also found to be 4 months pregnant. The girl, who is being treated in a hospital in Yola, Adamawa State, was said to have been psychologically abused and could not properly identify herself and her origin. Bitrus said that there are doubts over the identity and origin of the girl, adding that the community was not convinced that she was from Chibok, as her name did not correspond with the names of the 219 schoolgirls. A federal high court in Abuja has set November 10 for the arraignment of Aminu Gucci, the alleged mastermind of the April 14 Yaya bomb attack. This was after initial plan to dock him and other suspects on Friday was stalled by disagreement between the police and the Department of State Service. Presiding George Ademola Adeniyi explained that the long interval is to enable the two security agencies align their positions as well as conclude interrogation.
Well, this is a matter of national security that need not to be publicized.
It's in the court. It's in the public. The court is a public place.
Yes, even in the courts, certain procedures have to be followed because of national security.
So what procedure would have to be followed for the accused to be brought before the court?
The accused will be brought on the next adjourned date.
Why was he not brought today?
I've already told the court why the accused is not in court. On the next adjourned date, the accused will be in court.
It's the CoreTV Primetime News. We'll take another break now, and when we return, it will be business news with Sabena Izogu. Stay with us.
Nivea Nourishing Body Lotion. Its effective formula with Hydra IQ gives your skin deep and long-lasting nourishment for skin that stays moisturized all day long. Look great, feel great, with deeply nourished skin. Nourishing Body Lotion from Nivea.
There is an Ebola virus epidemic in some West African countries. The Nigerian government wants you to be aware and watch out against the spread of Ebola in your community. Help keep our country safe and watch out for severe cases of fever, headaches, diarrhea, chest and abdominal pain, sore throat, cough, red eyes, and bleeding from the eyes, ears, and nose, especially when these symptoms are found in persons coming into Nigeria from other West African countries. Protect yourself Wash your hands regularly with soap and running water or use a hand sanitizer. Avoid contact with the blood, urine, feces or saliva of animals like bats, monkeys, gorillas, chimpanzees or infected persons. The Ebola virus is deadly. Don't catch it. Don't spread it. This message is brought to you by the Federal Ministry of Information.
Welcome to the World of Business with me, Sabena Izoku. The federal government has stressed today that it is in need of adequate local and foreign investment in infrastructure to boost the nation's economy. The Minister of Works, Michael Onoreme, made this known in Benin at the 2014 Professor Ambrose Ali Distinguished Annual Leadership Lecture Series organized by Visionary Leadership Services, and a keynote address titled Leadership, Good Governance and Infrastructure Development in Nigeria. Michael Onoreme stated good and sustainable infrastructure was necessary in the country to serve as catalyst for economic growth and generate wealth for the country. For Nigeria to be amongst the first 20 economies in the world, our road infrastructure needs to grow from 200 kilometers to about 300 kilometers, while calling for more private sector funds through public-private partnership to supplement the increased limited resources of the government. The chairman of Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission, Sam Amadi, has clarified that 213 billion naira power sector intervention fund approved by the federal government was not a bailout fund. The federal government on the 23rd of September announced a 213 billion naira facility to assist electricity distribution companies offset legacy gas debt and address the revenue shortage in power sector. Amadi, who made the clarification on Friday in Abuja, explained that with the intervention, the banks now have taken over the debts electricity distributing companies DISCO owed to generating companies GENCOs. The fund was aimed at addressing inadequate gas supply for power generation. The fund would not be released to investors until the legal framework was put in place, adding that disbursement of the fund will be the last process to be undertaken. The beneficiary company is expected to repay the loans obtained from the fund over a 10-year period. The Central Bank of Nigeria today said that the federal government sold 114.39 billion naira worth of treasury bills with maturities ranging from between 3 months and 1 year at an auction this week. The bank sold 21.53 billion naira worth of 3 months paper at 9.95%, higher than 9.58% at the previous auction on September 17th. It sold 33.78 billion naira and 6 months note at 10.10%. It raised 59.08 billion naira in 1 year debt at 10.35%. The same yield the paper fetched the last time it was sold on the 3rd of September. The total demand stood at 181.44 billion naira at the auction, compared with 122 billion naira for the 3 months and 6 months papers sold at the 17th of September auction. And in technology, Apple has released a revised version of its new iOS operating system to fix the problems that have been plaguing some of the iPhone 6 users. The iOS 8.02 came 2 days after Apple withdrew a software update following widely reported cases that left some owners unable to use the phone. After the first update, the phones were unable to connect to the cellular networks and the fingerprint reader, a security feature, did not work. Although Apple has apologized for inconveniencing the iPhone 6 Plus users who were impacted by the bug in iOS 8.01, well, they have been reported cases of bent phones. Apple has sold 10 million new smartphones that were released last Friday. And on the stock market report, on the floor of the Nigerian Stock Exchange, it ended on a positive note today. The All Shares Index increased by 0.10% to close at 40,819.72 basis points. Market capitalization increased and closes at 13.478 trillion naira, and all a total of 245.9 million shares, valued at 2.7 billion naira, were exchanged in 3,806 deals. Report shows the Seplat Oil topped the gainers chart, followed by 7up, Guinness, Mobil Oil, and Wapco PLC. On the other hand, Dangote Cement topped the losers chart, followed by Capstone, GlaxoSmithKline, Ikeja Hotel, and National Salt Company of Nigeria. Meanwhile, here are the top 5 trends. And that's it on Business News. Ebulomo Adekunle will be back with the rest of the news. Please stay with us.
You can now watch CoreTV News live from anywhere in the world on our website, www.coretvnews.com. Click on Live TV on our website and watch us live.
And welcome to CoreTV Primetime Days.
To follow us on Twitter, click on Twitter icon on our website. On Facebook, click on the Facebook and YouTube to see all our previous news production. You can also watch us live on YouTube. Click CoreTV, leave a space, then news. CoreTV News, a 24-hour news station.
Our style, that's what he delivered. Here's that ball storming, Puyol with a flying lead.
No, taking them out in the lead and really.
You're welcome to the Word of Sport. Head coach Stephen Keshi has named goalkeeper and skipper Vincent Iyama and 23 others for next month's 2015 Africa Cup of Nations must-win qualifying tango away and home to Sudan. Both teams clashed at the Khartoum on Saturday, 11th October, before trading tackles at the National Stadium, Abuja, 4 days later. Keshi has also included a handful of new faces, including former junior international Rahim Lawal, China-based striker Aaron Samuel, and relatively unknown Ayoragona, who plays in Norway. There are also opportunities for World Cup star boy Babatunde Michael, back from injury, reading of England's Hope Akman, and Austria-based forward Sunday Manuel. African champions Nigeria must win both matches against pointless Sudan next month to have any realistic chance of reaching the finals in Morocco early next year. Coach Emmanuel Amunike has charged his Golden Eaglets to show character in Saturday's African Under-17 Championship qualifier against Gabon. Smarting from a 2-1 first-leg defeat in Libreville a fortnight ago, the Golden Eaglets need at least a 1-0 win based on the away goal rule to qualify for Niger 2015 Under-17, but Amunike has demanded a Teutonic approach against the visitors. Earlier on, Amunike had enthused that he was not perturbed about all the drama that surrounded the team's 2-1 loss in Libreville, saying he wants the Eaglets to win fair and square under the best sporting environment. 7 persons are jostling to replace Aminu Megari as president of the Nigeria Football Federation, NFF, on Tuesday in Warri, Delta State. The candidates gunning for the NFF president post are Ogunjobi Taiwo Joseph from Osun State, Yola Abba Abdullahi from Kano, Mike Ume, Anambra State, Pinnick Amaju Melvin, Delta State, Iofa Mtem Dominic, Benue State, Sheudiko, Kaduna State, and Amanze Yu Uchegbulam, Imo State. According to a statement from the Electoral Committee, 4 candidates were listed for the first vice president position of the NFF. They are Suleiman Mwazu of Sokoto State, Inyamai Meka Abia State, Adamu Shehu Kaduna, and Sheyi Akinwumi, Lagos. For the ordinary membership of the board representing the 6 geopolitical zones of the country, there appears to be no consensus among the candidates from the regions, as most of the candidates have entered the fray to test their popularity among the 44 membership of the NFF General Assembly. Nigeria Premier League outfit Crown FC have sacked coach Lawrence Akpokuna for the second time this season, officials have hinted. Former Yimba and Rangers coach Akpokuna was earlier sacked this season before top officials intervened on his behalf and he was reinstated. It was reliably gathered that Akpokuna's likely successor now is former Shooting Stars handler Busari Hakim, who has already been seen in Ogbomoso, where the club are based. On Wednesday, Crown bounced back from a 5-0 drubbing at fellow struggles Kaduna United to peep El Kanemi Warriors 1-0 in Ibadan. They face another relegation-doomed side, Nembe City, on Sunday in continuation of the league. United States, inspired by a brilliant display by rookie duo Patrick Reed and Jordan Spieth, led by 2 by half point to 1 by half after a topsy-turvy opening football session in the 40th Ryder Cup on Friday. Inside bunker at the fourth held the upper hand early on, but the visitors fought back strongly. Spieth 21 and Reed 24, forming the youngest partnership in the history of the biennial team event, crushed out of sport Ian Poulter and Scottish debutant Stephen Gallagher 5 and 4 in match 3. Thomas John and Martin Kaymer let slip a 3-hole lead to half the match with Ricky Fowler and Jimmy Walker, while Phil Mickelson and Keegan Bradley beat world number 1 Rory McIlroy and Sergio Garcia 1 up in the final match. And now, outside Nigeria, hundreds of people gathered in Paris on Friday answering a call by Muslim leaders to denounce the barbarism of Islamic State militants as flags across the French country flew at half-mast after the beheading of a French national. Imams and other Muslims have rallied to condemn the execution of the 55-year-old mountaineer Hervé Goudel this week by militants in Algeria with ties to the ISIS jihadists as the country mourns the brutal murder. Leading Muslim figures also signed a message published in French newspapers on Friday condemning atrocities committed in the name of a murderous ideology hiding behind Islam. The demonstration came as flags nationwide flew at half-mast to mourn Goudel. The mountaineer was kidnapped on Sunday by Algerian group Jund al-Khalifa shortly after a chilling call by IS militants for Muslims to kill citizens from countries involved in a U.S.-led coalition fighting the extremists. The threat sparked concern in France, and authorities have since threatened security in public places and on transport. And that's the news tonight. On behalf of the production team, I am Ebulomo Adekunle saying have a pleasant night rest.